The traditional method of modifying an Excalibur with a remote pinpoint switch is to wire a separate pinpoint cable from a switch in the handle to the headphone end of the control pod. This requires replacing the headphone's single-hole end cap with an aftermarket two-hole end cap. The headphone cable then needs to be cut, a new connector has to be installed, and the whole thing has to be epoxied back into the new end cap. The new remote pinpoint switch cable also needs to have a connector installed and epoxied into the end cap. The other side of that connector is wired across the switch terminals of the pinpoint discriminate switch on the motherboard. So after seeing this modification done a few times on YouTube, I decided that there might be an easier and cheaper way. So I developed a method to incorporate a remote pinpoint switch in the handle without using an additional fourth cable. Because of this, my modification doesn't require an aftermarket end cap. So I do this by using an 8-conductor cable which carries the pinpoint circuitry and the coil circuitry from the control pod using the same hole in the coil battery side end cap into a watertight junction inside the handle. And here I connect 4 of those 8 wires to the coil and 2 of them to the remote pinpoint switch. The remaining 2 wires are used as a shield to reduce EMI. My modification leaves the machine essentially stock. No modification to the headphones is necessary, and no additional connectors are required. This modification is not for the faint of heart. If you're not comfortable with working on fairly intricate parts and circuitry, soldering, and the use of hand tools, this may not be the project for you. But in any case, I hope that you guys enjoy the process as I have laid it out. Thanks again for watching. This is the coil wire, and I can feel the gland washer came loose with this. So I'm going to cut this off here. When I pull the end cap off, I'll drill out the cavity and put a new one in here. But this is what I do now. That's your coil wire. And like I said, the coil wire will be connected to a handle. This guy will go back in here with the new wire that I'm going to be putting into here. Okay, so basically what's going to happen here is this goes into the handle, then it goes into the 8-conductor wire, which goes into here, which has the pinpoint circuitry, yada 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 yada. So anyway, I'll show you that as we go along. Okay, here's your handle. Nice little handle. I have to got to put this wire into the handle. Okay, and so I have to drill a hole, a 1/4-inch hole, right there, as close to this as possible, so it just kind of snakes in there nicely. A hole in the handle. Okay. Okay, so after the holes are drilled in it, then what I do is I have this is the 8-conductor wire that I use for the combination pinpoint coil switch, or coil wire, coil cable. And that's going to be connected here. And it comes out of here, and it goes into the handle here. Okay, like that. And then it comes out this side with the coil wire. You dig it? So this is just right in the middle of the whole thing. See, this slides onto your shaft. You go from here to here to here to the coil and out, and then this will be your pinpoint switch up here. I have to wire this stuff up together to come up with the pinpoint switch wiring. It'll all be potted up in there nicely. So anyways, that's the way she goes. Just like that bar. Yeah, baby. Okay, so I'll get that wired up and I'll show you how it looks after we're all done. Okay, that's the bundle of wire that's going to be it's soldered together now, ready to be heat tube shrunk, and potted, and then stuffed back in here. And these are the 2 wires for your pinpoint switch that'll come out of the handle. Okay. So that's the waterproof connection that's going to be down inside your handle. These 2 wires come out
and they connect to the pinpoint switch. Then I put a couple of watertight connectors on here. So if you ever need to replace a switch, you just replace this watertight connectors on these two wires. You don't have to break into this mess of wires. Okay. I'm also going to put a tie wrap around here so it doesn't pull through the hole down here. Okay. Patented. This is liquid tape. And I just do this so that all the little crevices get filled up full of stuff. I also use adhesive lined heat shrink tubing. So it's, it's pretty damn good, but it's just, adds a little margin of safety to it. Little heat shrinker tubing. And after I get them nice and hot like that, then I'll take a pair of needle nose and I'll just squish this. And squish the ends of it a little bit, kind of just seal it off. You dig it? Okay. These are perfectly sealed. And then I just take this thing, turn it back on itself, shove those bad boys back down in there, about as far as I can get them. Which leaves me a little bit of this here. I'm going to turn this thing counterclockwise about 3 or 4 turns, so that when I do turn it in, it's not going to twist the crap out of it on the inside. And that, my friends, is your pinpoint switch. That sucker is done. Is a done deal, dude. I'm going to put the Anderson grip back on here, the Anderson soft grip on here. You can put whatever the hell you want to put on here, but I kind of like the Anderson grip. It feels good. So, moving right along. Next step is to wire this into this. Okay, and I'll show you how that goes. Okay, so now that I got these damn things off of here, destroyed them in the process of getting them off. Alright, then we take off the set. You take out the set screws out of the end cap. 2 set screws per end cap. Use a little 2mm X wrench. Okay. Headphones will come off first, and you probably will have the style of headphones that has a ground wire in there. Yep, sure as hell. There's a ground wire right there. And that little ground wire is actually hooked to the ground on the board. But right now, you can see in there's the headphone connection. I'll just lift that up and off. There's just a little connector. And I'll heat that heat shrink tubing up so I can slide it out of the way. And then we'll break that connector or unsolder that. Okay, so I just desoldered that. This is the part that's kind of important. You got to make sure that all these knobs are turned counterclockwise all the way to their stops, and then pinpoint switch in the pinpoint position. And then you just break this thing loose a little bit here, and you're going to turn them to the right and slide them right out of the hole. So now I'm going to unsolder this and drill out this little wire and put the new one in there. We'll do that right now. Okay, just to make it a lot easier to work on, I'm not going to be using these wires anymore. So I'll just nip those little puppies off right down in there. I'm going to be taking those wires out anyway. Now I'll desolder the power lines, the power leads, which is the battery leads, these right here. Okay, that's one. And two. Okay. Those are off of there. Now, we'll disconnect, take the rest of the wires off of here. I'll desolder it from the back of the board too. Just kind of a nice way to do it. It's got a, it's going to be cleaner. The solder comes out of there a little easier. Okay. Also, while I'm at it, I'll take the gel packs out of here and we'll put those aside. There's 3 gel packs. Okay. This is a little solder sucker. What we do is we'll heat the solder up on the hole here till it's molten. I'll put this over the top, and that's just vacuum sucks that sucker right out of there. It does a nice job. Holes are nice and clear. Dig it? Next step, like I say, I'll just put this away for now. I don't need to have that until I get my other wire all ready to go, and this end cap. And this end cap needs to be prepped. Okay, here's your old wire. Time to prep him. So I'll just stick him back inside of here and put him back in your box for now.